Hi guys, welcome on Blue Hammock. This day we're gonna review tuples, which are a Python built-in sequence type, and it's a immutable sequence type, which means that we cannot change the values of the tuple after it has been defined. So how can we define a tuple? One possibility is to use the standard notation with the round brackets, and we see that we have defined a tuple this way. Another possibility is to use the tuple constructor. So we can use tuple, and we see that the result is the same. If already we have some elements to put inside our tuple definition, we can do that simply like this. In a tuple, the parentheses are redundant if we have to define the tuple which contains already some elements. So we can also write like this. And we see the result is the same. So if we want to define a tuple with a single element with this notation, we have to do like this. And we see that we have defined a tuple with a single element without using the brackets. So in a return function, when we are returning some variables, let's say var1, var2, var3, when we are doing something like this, we are actually returning a tuple to the caller of the function. Like I said, a tuple is immutable, so we cannot change its values after the definition of the tuple. What we can do is accessing each element, or a slice of elements. To do that, let me define again our 3 elements tuple. And now let's say that I want to access the second element. We see that we have retrieved the second element. Now let's say that I want to access the first 2 elements of this tuple. This is very simple with the slice notation, so I can do like this, and we see that I have the first 2 elements of the tuple. Every sequence type in Python allows also for negative indexing. The negative indexing allows to start from the last elements of the sequence. So, for example, if we use the index -1, we will get the last element of the sequence. This is valid also for list. We have to be careful not to access an index outside of the range of the tuple, because it will throw an index error. Like in every other sequence in Python, to find the length of the sequence, we can use the len function. Now the tuple defines much less methods with respect to the list because it's immutable. So if we look at the internal methods of the instance of this tuple, we see that we have count and index method. So the count method allows us to count how many times an element occurs in a sequence, in a tuple. So let's say that we have something like this. And we want to count the number of times that we have 1. And we see that the result is 3. Then we have the index method, which returns the index of the first occurrence of some element. So let's say that we want to ask for the number 3. And we see that at position 2 is the first occurrence of 3. In this case, it's the only one. But for example, if we want to ask the index of 1, it will return 0. So like I said, we cannot change the values inside the tuple. So if I try to change the first element, it will throw a type error, because the tuple is an object that does not support item assignment. Why we may want to use tuples? The answer is that being a tuple immutable, we are sure that its element cannot be changed in the course of the program. So we are sure that in some sense there is a write protection to this variable. Instead, with the list being immutable, we know that some part of the code could change the values inside the list, and this may be unwanted. So I hope you enjoyed this short video on tuples, and I hope to see you here next time. Thank you.